between one positive, one negative, or it is a force between two negative, the logic, the concept of force defining will be absolutely same. That means out of the two interacting charged particles, one will be treated as the test charge particle, whereas the other one will be treated as the fixed charge particle. Is that clear? So, this force is directly proportional to the product of the magnitude of charged particles, and it is inversely proportional to square of the distance of separation. Got my point? It will be inversely proportional to the square of the distance of separation. So, obviously based on distance increases, force of interaction will decrease. With increase in distance of separation between two particular charged particles, force will definitely decrease, as because force is, since force is inversely proportional to square of the distance. So, this implies that force decreases with increasing separation, between charged particles. None of them can be treated as dimensional charge. That means geometrical status of either Q1 or Q2 cannot be considered in this formula. Whenever you are supposed to, yes, it is the concept of very similar to gravitation. So, force of interaction, attractive force or repulsive force, that will be taken into account. They will be defined by this formula, subject to the condition interacting charge bodies should be point charges. In case of either Q1 or Q2, if it is a dimensional charge, then there can be many situations where we fail to use this formula directly to find out the force of interaction between them. Sometimes, yes, in spite of Q1, Q2 being dimensional charges, we can apply this formula, but that is only subject to the condition where we can reduce the dimensional charge as a point charge. That can be used, that can be done in few specific cases. I will show you various cases of electrostatic force or electric field or electric potential or electric potential energy. All this formula, whatever we will do one by one, everywhere we will see that the role of the interacting charge particle in the formula are strictly valid for point charges. Whenever there will be one of them or both of them becomes the dimensional charge, then the process of calculating the force of interaction will differ, and that can be done by a specific route of mathematics, that is by the help of calculus we can do that. Okay? Is that clear? So, limitations must be, you must be careful about using the formula, because in many times it happens that student they use the formula without bothering that either the interacting charge particles are point charge bodies or not. Got my point? Is that clear? Fine. Now, what happens when there are multiple point charges with all separated from each other, at finite distance. At finite distance. Got my point? What happens if I raise this question? Then what will be happening to the state of existence of multiple point charges? All are appearing such as they are having finite separation. For example, if I am taking multiple point charges appearing at one specific region, at some certain location where there are multiple point charges like this, Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, Q5, Q6 like this. All these charge particles are having, all of them are having this way multiple separation, isn't it? There are so many this way multiple permutations, combinations with we can see how many distinct pair of charge particles can be there. So depending all possible finite separation, against each separation there will be one force of interaction between one pair of charge particles out of all 6 point charges are available here, right? So we are not going to discuss it in this way. For example, if I take a finite number of charge particles appearing at a certain geometrical information, suppose 4 charge particles are located at the vertices of a square geometry. 4 charge particles for a simple calculation, let us consider they are all identical. Let us consider they are all identical placed at the vertices of a square geometry. Now for example, if we want to know the electrostatic force experienced by any one of them out of these 4 charge particles, then how can we calculate it? For example, if we want to know that, find the force on small q at D. Find the force on small q placed at D, right? So we can see, as I said in the previous discussion, whenever we will be talking about one pair of charge particles at finite distance of separation, so they will be interacting with each other, and the one particular charge particle on which we will discuss the force, that will be treated as the test charge particle in that case, right? Isn't it or not? That one I said earlier, that the one who will experience the force will be known as the test charge particle. Yes or no? Yes or no? The one who will experience the force will be known as the test charge particle. Is that clear? So as because we are supposed to calculate the force on the charge small q at D, so that means the charge small q at D, that should be treated as a test charge. So when this one is the test charge, if this is to be taken as the test charge, then all other 3 charge particles which are at finite distances from the corner D, they are all supposed to be fixed charge. So well, this is the thing, we have to find the force on the charge small q at the vertex D on this square geometry ABCD. So what I will do, for charge to be discussed on small q at D, these 3 will be fixed charge particle, right? These 3 will be fixed charge particle. That means we will be considering the case like that, small q in the electric field region of all 3 charge particles. The charge at A, B and C, all of them are acting as the fixed charge particle, and the charge particle q at D is appearing as if it is the test charge in that. So all fixed charge will exert role of fixed charges are they exert the force, and role of test charge is what? The test charge experience the force. So this test charge will experience repulsive force. This can be written FDC, that force on D due to C. This positive will repel. This I can say FDB. Got my point? Okay. And similarly, by the charge at A, it will be this, which will be identified as FDA. As because I have taken all the charges are same in magnitude, so that's why I can say if dA and FDC are concerned, they must be equal in magnitude, and that will be K into Q square by A square, right? Finally, I will replace K by 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, but for simplification in each step, why should we write down it every time? That is why I am writing it by K, okay. So, FDA, the repulsive force, this one, and the repulsive force, this one. So, these two forces are equal in magnitude because they are having same pair of charged particles and equal distance as well. On the other hand, FBD, that is dB, will be something different because now the distance will be the diagonal one, which is root 2a. So, therefore, I can write down FDB, that will be K into Q square. There also again the interacting charged particles are same pair of magnitudes, and this will be square of root 2a, that is 2a square. So, if you consider this magnitude can be f, then this can be written f by 2. If I simplify k, right, k q square by a square can be expressed by f, then FDB will be expressed by f by 2. So, that means this is f, and this is f by 2, right. These are the three forces that small q at D can be experienced. Are you getting me? So, now what I was supposed to do, I have to get the resultant. See, all three are vectors, forces, so resultant effect unique value has to be answered. So, what we should do, being it is a square geometry, this is the diagonal 45-degree arrangement. So, that means I can resolve f by 2 in two mutually perpendicular components. So, that means if I try to split this f by 2, so I must get these two component. This will be f by 2 cos 45 in this direction, and in direction I will get f by 2 sin 45. Got my point? So, taking D as one point, in this direction it is f plus f by 2 cos 45, that means f by 2 root 2, and here in this direction it is again f plus f by 2 root 2. Could you follow this? Could you follow these two things? The total force, therefore the resultant force that I can express at D, so net force, so therefore net force at D, that can be written under root of 2 into this f plus f by 2 root 2, yes or no? Because you know that two equal magnitude forces are appearing at 90 degrees, then using Pythagoras, square of this plus square of this, so that will be ultimately root 2 of the individual. So, that is why I am writing the net force will be this, and that net force definitely this is the F net at D. So, the resultant force on the test charge small q placed at the corner D will be along the diagonal line BD, right. It will be along the diagonal line BD with this magnitude. So, it is this much along BD. Got my point? Could you follow how to deal with the electrostatic force on one test charge when there are multiple point charges placed at finite distance of separation? Is it okay? Fine.